So the next big thing over the past couple of weeks, and I've been actually meaning to discuss this specifically with you, because if I've seen it, I know you've seen it. We've seen pictures, we've seen videos of WWE crowds that are sold out and AEW crowds that seem to just be getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And it felt like it was just yesterday where the shoe was on the other foot, where WWE didn't have that much of an attendance thing going on, but AEW was selling out. So I wanted to know from your perspective, has AEW gone cold? Is AEW kind of like on the decline right now, or is this just kind of a natural part of their growth?
Okay, so I was actually having this same discussion with Zaire on the phone recently, and I don't like giving this man credit because I don't like him. However, I have to be honest because that's what we do on the show. We're honest. I feel like this decline happened at the same rate Phil Brooks had to leave AEW. And not for nothing, Phil is still up to date, their biggest signing. And I'm sorry, I'm a huge Edge fan, but I still think Phil was the bigger signing. You know, he's the signing that people got on board with AEW for in the first place. That just wanted an alternative to WWE. And they thought, what's the better way to spearhead this than to get the guy in that trashed this company on the way out and was wrongly fired. You know what I'm saying? And we were waiting for it for years. We finally got it. And not for nothing, although I don't like this man, he definitely moved the ratings needles. There's a reason why they circle back to Chicago constantly. And when Tony got rid of Phil, the crowd was not having it. The crowd was not having it. There's that portion that can't stand Phil. I'm definitely within that. I guess you could say minority here, and I'm gonna say minority because it's reflecting in the seats. Because I don't think, to me personally, AEW puts on a bad show. I'm actually entertained by what they have left over. I think that outside of the women's division, what they do with the men, I find fascinating. So I think there's a portion that has to do with Phil's departure. And then there's also the other half that I think has to do with what's going on in the world, and then people being very upset with Tony with the booking. And maybe some people are just not following AEW or supporting them momentarily because of what's going on. But I still think it started with Phil leaving, that the numbers just started dwindling. And it's noticeable. It's painfully noticeable. It was so noticeable. People were taking pictures during Edge coming out, and he was trying to do his little thing where he runs side to side and he does like the thing with his arms and shit. And there was no crowd there to like do that to. It's just empty. Like normally they like to show off when they actually pull good numbers, and it's just empty seats. I really think it has to do with the fact that, all right, like you guys kind of lost that one thing that we were looking for that kind of made us invest. Because not for nothing, you have people who flocked over to AEW who were just regular WWE fans. You know what I mean? And they were just looking forward just to see Phil. And you can't expect everyone to support indie wrestling. Like there's actual pro wrestling fans that support all forms of pro wrestling. There's people who just are used to the E formula, and they're there to see some of their faves that were wrongfully done by WWE being placed somewhere else where they could thrive. And I just feel like they had a lot going on with Phil. He's not there anymore. So some people are just like, well, fuck it. What's the point of me watching now? I don't even like the rest of these people like that. I want to see Phil mix it up with so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. That's what I think the theory is. And I think it's going to take a much bigger signing than Mr. Adam Copeland to boost these ratings. But it could also be because of business. Business always goes up and down, up and down, up and down. I still think that it's pretty odd that since this man left, and then we're wondering if this man's going to pop up Survivor Series, why are their seats dying now? Because shouldn't it be the opposite? Shouldn't it be the fact that you lost somebody should create like more just like speculation on what they're going to pull out their ass next to make up for this big ass loss? The seats shouldn't be empty. It shouldn't be. It actually should be the opposite. So that's what my theory is. But if you have a different theory, I would love to know, Jordan. So lay it on us. Why do you think the seats are empty?
I think it's a couple of things, right? I feel like AEW, when it comes to All Elite Wrestling, they have a great product. But I feel like one of the attractions or one of the things that kind of gathered people around AEW was the fact that it was new and that it was fresh, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that honeymoon period was extended a little bit longer than we had predicted because CM Punk was there. I feel like the honeymoon period ended, and then when the honeymoon period ended, CM Punk came in and a whole new honeymoon period started. Because now, not only do you have AEW, you have the reintroduction of CM Punk into the world of wrestling. And then his first conflict happened, and then he went away, and then he came back. And then when he came back, it was kind of like a finishing off of the honeymoon from the first run. But by the time that was almost done, he was back out the door. But regardless of what people say about CM Punk, like when with Punk on Collision, they were doing 800,000, sometimes 900,000, sometimes 1,000,000. Last rating I checked was somewhere between 300 and 500,000 people. It's not that hard to figure out what the difference is. Punk is a draw. And there's a reason why. Like, it's kind of like, you know what? I'm going to relate it to a basketball player. It's like dealing with like a LeBron James or Kevin Durant or someone that people perceive as like difficult, which I don't think that they are. But if they are, it's like there's a reason why you endure the headaches. It's because these guys produce. These guys equate to jersey sales. These guys equate to ticket sales. These guys equate to nationally televised games. You can say the same for CM Punk. Say what you want. The man moves tickets. The man moves ratings. The man moves merch. And there's not a lot of people who can do it at the level that CM Punk has done it in the past 10 to 15 years in pro wrestling. So guess what? You got rid of Punk. You did what you had to do. The vibe is back. We good. Vibes are great backstage. Vibes don't equal good ratings.
Or good business.
Or good business sometimes. So it's just like you gotta take the good with the bad. You want to get rid of CM Punk, fine, but expect them ratings to drop. And by the way, I don't think that this hurt, like his AEW departure. I don't think that it hurts Punk, because I think that a lot of people knew how effective Punk was. Like, if people didn't think that Punk was a draw, then why was Impact offering him a contract? Why was there even rumors of WWE being interested in him or talking with him or having talks with him? You don't have talks with someone whom you're not interested in doing business with. So it's like Punk is a draw, and I think that the world knows that he makes a difference regardless of where you stand with his character. But to answer the question, I think that AEW has gotten cold. I think that this is kind of a natural stop in their growth and in their progression. And now that the honeymoon is over, you have to figure out new ways to generate interest. That's kind of where I stand.
I agree with that.
But I want to know how everybody else feels. Let us know in the comments below. Is AEW getting too cold? Is it getting too stale? And why is it that they're getting too cold and too stale? But we're moving on.